Welcome back to another week of DXV podcasting with Nye, Chris, and Ollie. This week we'll be talking about European Cup action and round 17 of the Gallagher Premiership coming up this weekend. So, guys, without further ado, let's get to it. So, last weekend's games, Investec semi-finals. It was a big weekend. We had Leinster, Northampton, really close game, really good game as well. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I did. I watched I watched as much of the Toulouse Harlequins game as I could, so I was driving through France. And I did watch the Northampton Saints Leinster game. Not a good weekend for my predictions. So,
however, a fantastic one for mine. I just like to point out that Ollie loves starting a rugby pod with. I'm not sure if you guys watched rugby this weekend. That's just important thing to point out. Yes, we did. We are massively informed when we do this. Clearly, no, my predictions. I'll take it. I think it's the first time I've ever come accurate, and yeah, back in Leinster by 12. Big fan.
In all honesty,
it was Toulouse by 12. Sorry.
In all honesty, I think like the first game, Leinster, Northampton lost that. It wasn't. I think as a fan watching it, you just kind of got the sense like the occasion got them a little bit, like handling errors, just constantly. Two fairly clear tries and at least line breaks, like just left on the pitch because someone couldn't keep hold of the ball or a pass went slightly awry or slightly behind, just lacking the accuracy that they usually have. And I was talking to Nye earlier about Leinster. And I don't know, this is said from a place of admiration to anyone who's Irish and is going to get upset with me. But I don't know how they get away with the breakdown the way they do. And obviously, like, Reynal is a test qualified international referee and knows what he's doing. But, like, to me, you're watching it, I'm like, clearing out well beyond the breakdown all the time. Off feet, sealing up, like, just non-stop. I was like, surely you can't be getting that kind of quick ball, like, consistently against top teams, and everyone's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I have no idea how they do it and how they get away with it, but credit to them, they do something right. So
it's a couple of things. I sat there and was like, the fact that they do it all the time. Like if you just do it the once, then it stands out as something like, oh, something's wrong. The fact that you do it consistently all the time just becomes like your style of play. And like you said, because you are playing that ball quickly, if that ball's in that ruck another 2 seconds, suddenly the referee's got time to look at that ruck and assess that ruck and look at it. But because you're playing with such ball speed and quick ruck speed, well, actually the referee's sort of like glancing at that ruck, but he's already looking up at that defensive line to make sure they're onside. He's already sort of glancing left and right before the ball's gone to play. But like you said, like Ireland, the sort of national team, have been criticised over the last sort of year, 2 years for doing the same thing around the ruck, and clearly with obviously the amount of Irish players in that Leinster team, it's something that they've seen, and until referees do start getting hot on it or start pinging it, they'll continue to do it. Well,
I mean, it's a really good point. I hadn't even thought about that. The amount of, like, I suppose as a ref, it's really tough when you're still in the middle and there's so many pieces you've got to watch, right? Like, you got to police that offside line. You've got to make sure that how the breakdown's been done. And if you're moving with quick ball speed, the ball comes out and now you're worried about, like, okay, now I've got to turn around and look where that's going and what phase of play there
is. Your positioning, where you are on the pitch, how many phases you're in, sort of position your position on the pitch, players' position on the pitch, where they're likely to play next, to position yourself and every other player that's going on. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, but like you said, they are sort of professionals at that level and should be able to pick up stuff.
But yeah, I think it was a close game, much closer than many people expected. Leinster favourites. Now you picked up on it when you're bringing a British and Irish line captain off of your bench, like.
The depth in, and again, they made a big thing of it on the press. Like even like Ian Healy coming on, like Jack Conan. Like you've got like caps, like British, even Irish caps, British Irish Lions, and you're bringing them on for sort of impact at the end of a game. It just shows you the depth of that is in that Leinster squad. And I said, I think a few weeks ago on the podcast, when it comes down to knockout rugby, internationals really do matter. They're the people that have played at massive full stadiums, Croke Park, and sort of 80,000 fans. They're the ones that have been in crunch games before, tight games before, that have the experience to sort of get you over that.
Out.
Yeah. And it looked like they did that. I mean, I think thinking back, Saints I think started really well. Like the first 5-8 minutes, had some really big dominant tackles. Really sort of went in, but yeah, Leinster I think took opportunities. Saints didn't. Obviously, I think they had the advantage. Like I said, beautiful hands all the way out the back, all the way to the wing, just to sort of fumble it on. Yeah, they put a few.
That happened a few times as well. They set something up nicely. They just couldn't. Like I said, it was just lacking a clinical edge. And I think the occasion got to them. They came back in the second half, had a good little run. There was a try that kind of put them. George Hendy's try, which probably a bit lucky just in terms of the bounce of the ball, but that put them back in the game. They were also missing quite a few big names, right? So Lewis Ludlam was out. Test player Ollie Slightholme, top try scorer in the Premiership. I was talking to you earlier, and I was talking about him as. I'm not comparing him to Penaud. I mean, I am, but in terms of he's obviously different spectrums or different, but he offers you something similar in terms of a big carrier as well. He's not just quick. He also, even if you can get to him,
in traffic,
he'll still get you through, which I think is really valuable. And they missed that a little bit. And some other ones in there as well, who like Tom Pearson's still out, Berger Odendahl, who's really been great for them. So I think that probably had an impact, but you can't. It's just
Low,
let it slip.
like Low getting across the try line, doing sort of him. I think one of his tries just shouldn't have been scored. Gibson Park pulling the strings that we've mentioned, sort of like the ruck speed, and he's massively sort of part of that. The little sort of basketball tap in the air, sort of little bits.
How do you even do that? Where do you
magic.
get the confidence to pull that off? Do you know what I mean? Because that's in a semi-final of a European game where you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to chip it, mate. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to
going to bat it. Bat it away. And know that Lowe's just going to be on that wing to seal it away. Yeah, I think there was some good. I think when I look at standout points, and I think the long line out Dan Sheehan, which was the sort of the catch and drive off that to then go wide, that was one of the best line out throws. I think I said earlier was beautiful over the defensive line that they put up over it, dropped right on the sort of 15-meter. Just sort of when I think back to that game, there were some big names that we know, like Dan Sheehan, Gibson Park, Lowe, big Irish experienced players carrying them across. Yeah.
They had 2 uncapped players in that Leinster team.
In the 23.
Yeah, in the entire 23. Which is mental.
Yeah, that's strong.
That's what happens when you don't have a salary cap, right?
Predictions for the final, guys. So just to kind of, I suppose, set the scene for this, the Investec Champions Cup obviously track the stats, both team and player. So of the 11 club stats that are tracked, Toulouse leads on total points, tries scored, meters made, and clean break. So with that in mind, 2 weeks time, I think it's 2 weeks, 25th of May. What's your guys' predictions for who wins it?
I'm gonna say Toulouse.
I
think Toulouse, just because they are no team. If you were to coach a rugby team, if you were to get a whole bunch of people together, you get your 23, this is how we're gonna play. No, you wouldn't describe this is what a game-winning strategy is. You wouldn't describe Toulouse's game plan, right? It's very loose. It's very cohesive. Loads of offloading. I think there was one where Cyril Bay it's a prop, right, mine? Just in contact, he's wrapped, gets his little one hand loose, and just pops it over the top, and then they pass it out to the bell, and he goes on for the try. I'm that's. You would not coach that, right? Anyone looking at that, take the contact, clean it up, get the ruck over, and then move on from there, quick ball from there. No, Toulouse just popping it around, throwing it around. I think I saw it on another podcast. They're talking about one of the Toulouse players, like how they'll do it. Like, and sometimes in training they'll just tip up and like have a game of football and just get like. It's mental how they can play. It shouldn't work, but it works really, really well for them. And I don't know how you stop it. When a team offloads like that, how do you defend that?
It's one of those things that I think similar to a French team that we saw with their flair and sort of like throwing it about. And it's almost like you're waiting for that to go wrong. You've got to go out like Leinster. I think you've got to go out, score early, put them under pressure, because suddenly that little pop out the back, you're not doing that comfortably, knowing that you're 2 tries up. Suddenly you're putting all of that sort of flair, that little bit under pressure. And once you put someone under pressure and you almost force them to do those offloads, suddenly it doesn't go to hand. Suddenly you sort of it doesn't happen. And similar to sort of like a French team, like when they're firing, and we watched them turn up at this sort of Six Nations this year, and they weren't firing, passes weren't going to hand. So it is that. I think it's a right shout. I think it is. Toulouse is almost to lose, but Leinster they're clinical. Like I sit there and go, if they take their chances early and put Toulouse and that sort of flair under pressure, I think they've got an opportunity. So
it is a really interesting match in terms of style, though, right? Like fast, loose, really structured, really clinical, really like it'll be a really good watch. It'll actually be a really, really good watch. There's some mega matchups.
I've backed Leinster all the way through this, and even like a few weeks ago, I was like, no, they've got it in the bank. And I'll back them again. I'll say Leinster by 6.
Leinster by 6.
I think only 1 try in it, but Leinster by 6.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say Toulouse by 10.
Toulouse by 10.
2 scores. Like if they're gonna win, they're gonna win. I don't think if it's a close game, it favors Leinster.
Yeah.
I think if Toulouse can get a couple, like you say, like if they can get a couple of scores, even just 2 scores ahead, so 7+. All of a sudden they're much more comfortable, and they start building up a head of steam. And the thing is as well, like Leinster have that, they're kind of implementing a similar kind of blitz defense from under Niambar. Like if you can get around that, we saw that with England in the Six Nations. Like if you can get around that, there's opportunities. If there's a team that can do that, it'll be Toulouse. That and Jack Willis plays for them, and I really rate Jack Willis, so I'll back Toulouse.
As well as half of the French team, but I think Leinster got to score first, and we'll be good.
I mean, I just can't. I can't see Toulouse losing. I think they've got too many, just too many.
Where is the game?
Absolutely awesome, but I think it's in.
It's in Tottenham, I think.
Yeah, I think it's in Tottenham.
Yeah, somewhere.
It's in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to say Toulouse by 5. I reckon. And then Challenge Cup as well, guys. Switching fire, well, albeit in the same kind of European sphere. But we had Sharks beat Clermont and then Gloucester with a resounding defeat of Benetton. Predictions, guys, again. So what do you reckon? Sharks, Gloucester, who do you think's taking it?
I'd like to say Gloucester, and to be fair, they've had a really good run in the Champions Cup so far. Like it's been really good for them.
It has been clear in the last couple of rounds that they've obviously out of contention for what is sort of Premiership and like the run in. We've seen it by the fact that they've rested sort of key players. That this is their sort of this is their chance for some silverware this season, and they've focused completely on this. But
I think Sharks team, Oxenshire, like.
But they're getting a lot of flack for it, right? Like in even on kind of, you see it on social media, you see it in the news, where people are pretty scathing of kind of the management at Gloucester.
Why am I paying money for a ticket to watch a B side, etc.
Yeah.
They're very much focused on, but like you can't criticize them, right? Like if you want, the trouble is like loads of people, and this is maybe a little bit controversial, but like people will criticize them for doing it, but you want your team to win silverware, right? Like the reason that Leinster is so like not the exclusive reason, they have quality players, right? But like they one of the reasons they can do that and have the tools because they don't have a salary cap, and as such they can have huge quality squads, which means that James Lowe has played like 80 minutes this season, or like it's they don't play the same way that the Prem players do because they have to, because the salary cap's so low, because so like success breeds success, right? So you can't fault them. And if you want your club to win stuff, because in the same way, when you win stuff, more people follow you, more people buy tickets, all that kind of stuff, then it means that sometimes they might not play there. I like to think of it as like when they do play what is the B squad, for want of a better word, you get to see people who are coming through the pipeline. So that's how the likes of like Faye Waboso gets his first look in, right? Like that's where you get to see those kind of players who aren't the household names yet, but are kind of on the horizon. So I like to think of it like that. But no, I do understand like the frustration, because if I went to go see Sale, I'd be annoyed if all your favourites aren't on the pitch as well. So it's 6 in one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah.
Sharks. Oh, I'm gonna go Sharks by 12.
So I think this is the first time South African team has made it to the final as well. So that's a big.
They'll be playing in Europe.
statement.
They'll be playing in Europe somewhere, because the rule isn't that the South African teams can't play at home in the finals or semis.
Yeah.
So it'll be, but they've already travelled against Claremont, so they played at the Stoop. So I imagine they're just staying in. They'll be staying in the UK. They've got the likes of Etzebeth and Shea.
I love the fact that Chris is just putting so much thought into this. Yeah, so the humidity and temperature, altitude, where I'm just kind of like, yeah, gut feeling, Sharks by 12.
Nice going after everyone, mate. I was trying to think of a good retort to the earlier one, but I'm just gonna not ask you guys anymore. Because you obviously, so Nye does all the editing for us, so he reads back. He watches back, don't you, mate? So
if you get him good, he just takes it out.
You pick up on everyone's little like nuances, whereas we just kind of I don't know. This is like what, 7th take?
No, this is the good sort of intricacy with, and especially when we look at like fantasy rugby. Chris is massively happy to sit there and troll through stats, players, stats, etc. Where I'm very much sort of, again, just like gut feeling. Sometimes the stats play, and sometimes like I think he's due a good game. It's the craziest way, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it works. It's just the difference in people. Not to say one's good, one's bad, but yeah, it's just intriguing to me. I find it funny.
That's what you got.
Yeah, it's good.
Right, cool. So now we've got that out of the way. Next week's games. Nye, mate, why don't you kick us off with by feel? Bristol Saracens, mate. Who do you think's taking it?
Bristol are on form. Like, you can't not back Sarries, but I'm gonna back Bristol in a winning form, and I think it's gonna be close. I'm gonna go Bristol by 3.
You reckon? It's a big game as well, right? Because Sarries sits second, Bristol on the cusp at 4th, but matching points with Harlequins at 49. So Bristol really need this. We got 2 games left before the playoffs, or last 4. So yeah, we're hitting like crunch time now. Chris, what do you reckon? Nye's gone Bristol.
They're playing Ashton Gate, aren't they? Bristol tails up, playing really heavily attacking rugby. Sarries, the ultimate team at like, they know how to win the Prem, right? They've done it enough in recent times. They've got plenty of motivation. Loads of players leaving at the end of the season. Billy Bonapola may still be twitching from all the tasing though, so that'll be interesting. I'm gonna go Bristol, which sounds weird to say. I'm gonna go Bristol by 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some, like, the thing I love about Bristol is they don't necessarily have what you would consider like household names everywhere, right? So like, we all know rugby's dominated by international fans, right? Most of the fans that you'll see watching the Six Nations will only watch international, and hopefully there's a good bunch of you who love the Prem as much as we do. Hello, play our app. But then there's also in Bristol, there's a lot of players. Ibitoye, Janssen van Rensburg, Magnus Bradbury, Max Leahy, who are all really quality players, and they seem to do really well as a team. And it just kind of comes off, so I'm quite excited to how they go on. I hope they do keep their streak going. So yeah, Bristol by 3. Stick with it.
Okay. And then Chiefs Quins is the next probably biggest game. So I've kind of ruled the others out, less Sale actually, but we'll come on to that in a second. But Chiefs have a real chance. They have Quins this weekend, who've obviously just come off the back of that defeat to Toulouse, but essentially played a first 15, right? So they haven't had much of a break. Chiefs looking pretty strong at the moment. Albeit got knocked out kind of a couple of weeks ago of the Champions Cup. They've just come off the back of a pretty convincing defeat of Gloucester, albeit Gloucester sit 9th. And they've got Leicester in the final round. So, kind of still on the cusp, I guess, 45 points. Kind of ruled Leicester out at this point, 40 points. But Chiefs Quins, guys, what do you reckon, Chris?
I think it's going to be Quins, but it's going to be a hell of a game. So I think Quins take it. Just because I don't know if it depends how you respond. Like, you've just missed out on the chance for some silverware, right? So do you now double down and go hell for leather for the Prem, or do you just kind of take the wind out of your sails and see how it goes? So it'll be interesting to see. But Marcus Smith, Dom Brandt, Lina, Caden Murley, Will Collier, Finn Baxter, there's some really Will Evans, some really, really quality names in that team. Andre Esterhazen, I don't know how you overcome that. I mean, Exeter, no slouch, still very young though. Greg Fischlau, Faye Waboso. The scrum, I think, will be interesting. The battle of the forwards. So you've got what is either Joe Marler or Finn Baxter. Will Collier up against some of the biggest props in the Prem. So Aaron Painter. The commentators always love to make a big deal of his 7XL shirt. Stop fat shaming the props, boys. But I think that'll be an interesting battle because you've got two fairly strong scrums kind of going head to head. I think at the start of the season, Harlequins had the highest scrum success in the Prem. I don't know how that's tracked now. Actually, I have to check that out. But I think that'll be a really interesting battle in the packs. And there's some really, really strong backlines as well. And again, it's another one Exeter have a strong defensive, they love that blitz defense up against Quins, who love a bit of loose, fast, quick rugby. So yeah, I think those two games you mentioned are probably the two I'd be most keen to watch this weekend. I'll watch them all because I'm a nose, but
yeah, no,
I think
by a feel, mate. Go.
yeah, by a feel. I think the pressure's on Chiefs and more on Chiefs than sort of Quins, I think, at this point. And I think that coupled with strong game against Quins sort of coming back out of contention for sort of silverweight here, so really have a big push to get into that sort of top 4. So I'm going to go Quins by 14.
Okay. I'm gonna go against Gray, and I'm gonna say Chiefs. I just got a feeling. And I kind of want them to get through as well. I think they kind of deserve it. Cool. So brings us on to the kind of the next one, Sale Tigers. I know, Chris, you're a big Sale fan. I'm going to go to Nye first here, mate. But Sale on 47 points, kind of around the cusp. They could well make it. Having sat here kind of 6 weeks ago and said that they were out of the runnings, in my naivety, they've actually kind of pulled it back, and they're truly well and truly still in the fight. I think Tigers probably at this stage out of it, 40 points. Well, yeah, 40 points. They can't make it.
I mean, barring a miracle,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But yeah, I think they're pretty much gone. But Sale Tigers, no, mate, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a fight to the death. I think Tigers will come out still going for it. They're still. So you're telling me there's a chance, of smallest amount of chance for them. So I think it's going to be close, and I think Sale will win it by a George Ford drop goal.
Okay.
It's another one where two fairly, at the moment at least, forward dominant kind of teams, forward heavy defensive, but the big boys run teams go head to head. So I think that'll be really interesting. Annoyingly, for Sale to go through, I need Chiefs and Saracens probably to win, because Bears and Quins are the two ahead of them. So
Mate,
the exact
it's
opposite of what I
huge though,
predicted.
Yeah, because Sale have Sarries in round 18 as well, which is massive, right?
Yeah.
And like those are the two finalists from last round, right? I think they've set it up that way. So like
Mm.
predicting it, they'd probably do reasonably well this season again. But Sale have had massive injury worries and therefore dropped off. I'm just not like I just like I really want them to win, but I'm not super confident about the way Sale are playing at the minute. They're not winning comfortably. It's always a scrap. I mean, even against Newcastle,
Yeah.
no slight to Newcastle, but even against Newcastle last week, is more of a scrap than you would have liked it to see for a team that's trying to chase a win. And yeah, they came with the bonus point, but I don't know. I think Sale will win. I do think Sale will have enough to put it away. At least I certainly hope so, and stay in the fight. But their kind of destiny's almost out of their hands now, where you need other teams to do stuff for you as well. Like you need Quins or Bears to kind of not make it.
It's that horrible rugby thing that even in like the Six Nations, it's the worst thing in the world where you actually need like England to win, like for like Wales to get something. It's a horrible feeling that you're reliant on supporting your arch enemy, but you really need them to win, so you win by proxy.
I would really like Newcastle to get a win, actually. Like this weekend, it's not going to happen. Like it probably won't happen anyway. Bath really struggling. Still down Finn Russell though, so but I'd really like to see Newcastle get a win, just to kind of don't want to see him go through the entire season scoreless. It just brings up more questions.
We're getting ahead. So last two games: Saints, Gloucester, Falcons, Bath. I'm gonna say, and I hope I speak for all of us, Bath Saints to win those two games. Those games. Yeah.
Very comfortably.
Brings us on to kind of final or last four predictions, guys. I'm just looking at round 18 games now, and I've got on my list to go into the playoffs: Saints, Saracens, Bath, but I might change that because they got Northampton in their last game, and Quins, but again they meet Bristol in round 18. So
how many points are Bath on?
You know what? I'm genuinely
one more
Bath
50.
on 50.
And then
so they win this week, right? Bath Falcons.
Yeah, they put 5 on them. Yeah.
Like I reckon they probably get 5, so that bumps them up to 55.
And then what happens? And then what's Saints on?
Saints are 55.
Yeah,
but they're comfortably being Gloucester.
I think Bath go through.
You reckon?
Yeah. The big question is though, how quickly can Finn Russell get back? Because he makes such a difference to that team. So even if they get through,
and so Bristol win this week, right? They're on.
That's still an if, though, right?
So they get 4. They get 53. Quins.
I think it leads. I think this weekend's games. Yeah, this weekend's games. There's so many. There's quite a lot there. What 3 odd games?
3 games
really
you can't
tight. Really, really tight. Game in it either way, but that makes a huge difference to sort of round 18, right? It makes a massive difference. And because you have got such a condensed sort of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, there's still some crazy stuff that could happen. And I think I'm not sure if it's been planned really, really well or just a massive coincidence that the teams have sort of finished as they are. But round 18 is going to be fiery.
End to the season. But I mean, what's your guys' thoughts? Are you with me? Saints, Sarries 2, 1-2, yeah.
I'm not convinced. Sarries. If
That's still
Bristol
a big.
Bristol do it this weekend, right? So what's Sarri's on?
Mate, so,
Let's have a gander.
dude, so Sarri's on 50. Saracens on 51. They've got Bristol this weekend. Yeah, could go either
Yeah.
way. But then they've got Sale in round 18, and I just can't. I don't know. I can't really see Sale beating them.
They did it earlier in the season, right?
Mind you.
But
Yeah,
it's
but
a-
was that during the Six Nations? I can't remember when that was.
No, was it? I can't remember. I don't
I
know,
don't
mate.
remember.
It's entirely possible. I think Bath go through because the game against Newcastle puts them in, right? So even if they lose their last round, I think 55 is kind of like your watermark where you want to be sitting. Saracens have probably they have more difficult games going in, right? So they've got Bears and they've got Sale. So even if you do, like, you've got to, like, if they need to win one of them. If they win one of them, then they're in, they're away.
Yeah.
But I think you're probably going to see. So I don't like saying it, but Sharks are Sale's probably out. They would need to win both, and they need it, or at least it's not in their hands, and they would need either Quins or Bears to lose.
Yeah.
And I think they'll both do it this weekend. Honest answer, mate, I have no idea. If I was a betting man, I'd go
tough,
Saints.
isn't it?
If I was a betting man, I'd go Saints, Bath, Quins, and God, it feels wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Saracens.
Have Saracens.
I'm gonna have to go Saracens. I'm gonna have to put Saracens in there. I'm gonna have to. They're a team that just knows how to close stuff out. Like, they'll turn up in big games.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Nye?
Yeah, I mean, whoever finishes top four will probably go through.
No.
The value for 9 never stops, mate.
Yeah. As ever.
God,
as ever, my predictions.
Mate, if we carry on with these podcasts, they're going to be a struggle.
Nine's insights are never ending.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You can watch
predictions.
I'm
like 3 for 3. Yeah.
Do you even watch rugby, mate?
So I'm going to go with no change. I think there's going to be a change. I don't think they'll finish. Saints will finish there, but I think it is Saints, Sarries, Bath, Bristol go through. I don't think it's going to be in that order, but I think that's the 4 that are going to go through. It's down to Quins, and I think it depends. One, I think professional team, but sort of how tired they are coming from what is sort of like big games, cup games. Like it makes a difference, especially you get towards the end of the season. Like, just had a massive, like, big game against Toulouse. Somebody else has rested for a week. Big games come towards the end, and whether or not they can sort of carry through that. I think that'll be the last 4. But like we said, that spot at 4th is anyone's.
Do you boys reckon Northampton takes it? Takes the overall cup? Because it's all well and good winning the league, right? But then you've got to go through the knockouts. So you probably get it. They're probably looking at a home semi.
Yeah, I think it's such a. I think there is some teams out there. Like, let's look at Bears. Didn't have a fantastic start, but are on a winning streak. Bath have put in some, again, sort of, I wouldn't say stand out, but have ground out some wins and got there, and 100% obviously, like, into last 4. But I'm not sure if they're quite there. I mean, Leinster opened up some sort of holes there, showed the way to get through. So I'm not sure.
Get that big game mentality, mate. Like,
I don't.
When the pressure's on,
think, I'm not sure they're there to take it all the way to the final and win. But yes, let's see how the next sort of 2 weeks goes. And again, 1 injury to a player or 2 injuries can make a massive difference come sort of round 20 in the Prem finals.
100%. I think they can do it. Genuinely think they've got the quality across the park to do it.
I think whoever scores the most points will win the final.
You've been saving that. You've been waiting for a moment.
I'll tell you what, though,
Um,
he's gonna be right.
No, I genuinely think that Northampton will win. I just think they've looked so strong, like every single game. Bar the games they've lost, obviously. No, I think they're coming out with absolute cracking anecdotes now. No, I do think that they will win. I think they've got so many good players, and they've looked so strong. I think once they get to the, it's, mate, to fight back against Leinster like they did as well. I think very
but you
few
can't slip
teams.
up like that in big games. You can't have to fight back like that, right?
You can't, mate. But I think very few teams could have done that against Leinster.
True.
Very,
very true.
I mean, the question is, do they pick themselves up? Can they pick themselves up now, having lost that
semi-final emotional drain
the way that they did? I think is the biggest kind of question. And I don't know. They've got a they've got a pretty easy game this weekend. Gloucester will probably field. Gloucester will field a essentially a B team side because they've got the final in 2 weeks, which they've set their sights on. So Saints will probably breeze. I'd be very, very shocked if Saints didn't sort of breeze through that. And then they've got, who have they got in the next round? I can't remember.
Yeah, so like a natural Gloucester going to field, probably look towards silverware and not field their strongest. It'll probably give sort of Saints an opportunity to run out the players they need to, rest maybe a couple of players if they need to, or at least sort of substitute early, get them on the sort of park, keep their legs in it, but sort of expect a full bench to come on.
You expect
you expect
a comfortable lead, exactly, and then you'll play the half time. And like I say, I think you'll see some younger guys get some time. Wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of McParland come on again. Wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of Freeman get rested because he's played a lot of game with some of the back three injuries they had earlier on in the season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Freeman take a seat this round. Because I think there's a regulation on how much game time a player can actually get in the Prem as well. So you can't have to rest them for a certain amount of time. And obviously you're planning on getting to the final. So
I mean Northampton. If we look at the guys who are in the contention for the playoffs, so Northampton this season they've lost to Bristol 33-27, which is a pretty emphatic. They've actually lost to Sale in the first round, which I thought quite surprised about. But then we go. I mean, they actually started the season off not that strong. Only beat Newcastle.
Yeah, but you look at how many. So at the start of the season. At the start of the season, they had So look at who was away at the World Cup, right? So that's when the World Cup was on.
Yeah.
So you have that's when Saracens got hammered by Exeter. So you've got you had like Courtney Laws away, Ludlam away.
They beat Bath 24-18. They beat Exeter 34-19. I'm not going to go through them all. Lost to Leicester.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Buckle in, boys. It's going to be a long pod.
They've had a strong season, and like I said before, they've got some serious talent in their squad. I'm going to put I'm not going to put any money on it because I don't like to gamble, but yeah, I'm going Saints.
Yeah, I think Saints win it. Can't see anyone beating them if they're on form.
So Dream 15 guys for this weekend, and Nye kicking us off with the forwards, mate. Do you want to give us your kind of props hooker pairings?
I'll go for it. And apologies to Chris and the rest of the front row union. I'm sure you'll all be really impressed with somebody who spent his life in the backs picking a front row. But some honourable mentions have been really hard. I think Bevan Rod, Sharks, sort of Montoya, hooker. I think you mentioned him earlier. I think Baxter, if he's there. But front row, I'm going to go Genge for Bristol because I think Bristol are on form. I've always liked him, despite him playing quite well against Wales. Theo Dan, Sarries, and let's mix it up. Let's go Thomas Detroit, Bath. I think from our front row this weekend.
Strong. Moving on to second rows then, mate. What have you got for us?
Who can't? George Martin. I think Tiger's been storming. Yeah. Made his way quite happily into that. I don't want to pick him again. Obviously, our massive pick throughout the whole of the World Cup, and who Chris, I'm sure, picked Theo McFarland, but I'm not sure. I mean, you can never count out. You've got like Itoje, Sarries, Ewells at Bath. I think, I'm going to go McFarland because his ability to get on the end of a crossfield kick is legendary. George Martin, work rate, Tigers. There's my second row.
Nice, mate. Rounding us off then, mate. Flankers, number 8. Go for it.
Oh, flankers. I'll try and pick a 6, 7, 8 rather than doing what most fancy people would do and just picking number 8 carriers. So I'm going to try and break it down. Laws, has been. I've loved him this season. Out there. Oh, here we go. 6. I don't know who's been playing well for me. Guy Pepper at Falcons, but do I pick Falcons? Cunningham South. Let's go for a 6. Let's go Quins. Let's go Cunningham South as a sort of out and out 6 ball carrier, big hits. 8. Toss up at 8 between Jack Clement at Gloucester and Barbary at Bath. I think I'm going to go Barbary at Bath. I think big weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just surprised I didn't pick all 8.
That's strong.
I'm sure Chris is sat there like smiling through gritted teeth. Watching
I've got so many. I was going through it all.
So many.
Why didn't you? No, mate, that's a strong scrum. Chris, mate, what have you got for us at halfbacks?
So I am a massive fan of Jack Van Portfleet, as if you listen to the pod, you'll have known, but he's playing Sale, so he's not getting picked. So going to put Mitchell in. I think, to be fair, he's and this is if he starts. I hope he does. Just going to be interesting in play. But Mitchell, if not, then I'd probably go Quirk. Again, he probably won't start, but I really rate Quirk. I think he's a player of the future. And has a huge work rate. So first choice is Mitchell, though, so let's stick with that. 10, I'm going to go Marcus Smith. Just because from a fantasy perspective, he's triple threat, right? Kicks, runs, scores tries, carries. Yeah, so beats defenders like it's going out of fashion. Okay. Yeah, let's keep Marcus Smith for now.
Locking in?
Yeah, lock him in. Then we're going to go... Locked in, yeah. No take back. Centre pairing. I'm going...
The opposite to my massive centres from last week.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah. The irony of like Nye picking the big boys and me picking the little nippy lads. No, I'm picking Ollie Lawrence at Bath.
Yeah.
Backing them to do a job. I think they'll do well. Now I wish I'd chosen. Now I think I should choose Ben Spencer at 9 as well. Then I'm going to go Bernard Janssen van Rensburg at 13 for Bristol, because he has been an absolute monster for them. Great signing from London Irish. Has made a huge difference. Back 3 is where it gets interesting. I am going to go Freddie Stewart against Sale at 15, just because I think Sale play quite an aerial game, particularly if Gus War starts, and that's where Freddie Stewart flourishes. So it'll be interesting to see if they change up tactics to match that. And my wings. Faye Weboso's in, so let's pick Faye Weboso right at the back. Had an excellent round last round, so he goes straight in. But it's that last spot, and there's so many contenders. That's such a pain to pick.
I can't believe you went so quickly to Weboso. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably one of the most naturally talented wingers I've seen in a long, long time. I think so. We were posting all the stats this week, about like performances, and when I went through like the top performers, he topped like 3 or 4 of them. I think it was like defenders beaten, carries, meters carried, and meters in contact as well. He did them all. So given that meters in contact was put into the game is designed for something for the big lads, it's not bad for a winger to be topping those charts, right?
Very strong.
Yeah, and then I need that last winger, don't I? That last wing spot. And I think
Tommy
for
Freeman?
me, I don't know if he'll play. I am tempted by
Martin,
Freeman though.
Jesus.
I'm thinking
many.
either maybe Cock and a Singer.
Or maybe even Slightholme, mate. Or not. Cock and a Singer.
It's whether Slightholme will come back from concussion. If
Oh,
Slightholme's back
interesting.
from concussion, straight in. 100%, Slightholme's in. We'll have a good day. If
But we're
not,
going Cock and a Singer, yeah?
if not, we'll go Cock and a Singer, yeah.
No Murley, no Parton. Yeah. Fine.
Don't talk to me. No Tom Willis. No, no Jasper Visa, mate. None of them.
Jasper
Just gonna
Visa,
completely.
yeah. Ben Curry. I was like, I'm purposely not picking Sale.
Yeah. We'll put our money where our mouth is, and we'll get out the Dream 15 on Friday on social media, and we'll make those changes when the team sheets come out. Cool. So yeah, that concludes another week of DXV Rugby. If you aren't sick of us yet and you want more rugby focused content like this, and I'm gonna caveat this week with and Nye's awful chat, then please follow us on any one of X, Facebook, Instagram, and our new TikTok account, where we post daily rugby insights.
Hilarious little memes.
And Nye posts hilarious little memes, but we'll let you guys be the judge of that. And we'll keep you up to date on our progress ready for our launch in August this year on all of those platforms as well. But thanks for joining us, and see you next week.